Hey guys, it's Carolina here from KarolinasKrafts and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have a new Scrappy Christmas Crafts tutorial for you guys. Now I did already post a project share of this album just because it's a larger album and the project share kind of took a while, so I thought I would just do the project share separate. So check that out if you guys haven't seen that yet. It's in the description box down below as well. And then in this video, we are going to be doing the base tutorial of the album. So after you watch my video, make sure to check out Tiffany's because this is our Scrappy Christmas Crafts series. And if you recreate any of our albums that we post in this series, which I do also have a playlist linked down below in case you guys have missed any of the Scrappy Christmas Crafts videos. I do have a playlist, but if you recreate anything, make sure to tag both Tiffany and I using the @ sign, so at KarolinasKrafts and at Let's Get Scrappy, and also use the hashtag Scrappy Christmas Crafts with a K. So we are gonna get started on this album tutorial. All right, so to start off with this album, you are going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 size cardstock. This is 65-pound weight from Michaels. You're gonna need 2 12 by 12 pieces. This is just to wrap the chipboard. You can use smaller. However, I feel that because I'm using like a larger chipboard piece, which is 7 1/4 by 7 1/2, you're gonna need 2 of these. But because I am using something so big, 8 1/2 by 11 paper is only 8 1/2 by 11, and I feel like you're gonna have very little to wrap on the sides. You can use it. I feel safer doing it this way with 12 by 12. So that's what I'm using. So I'm using 2 pieces of 12 by 12 paper. I'm going to put some tape down on one side because we gotta attach these 2 pieces together. Okay, so just gonna take that piece of tape off and I'm gonna combine it with my other piece. So I'm gonna peel back some of this tape right here. I'm gonna line it up with the bottom, which you guys could barely see the whole entire thing, but I'm lining it up at the bottom here and then making sure it covers all that tape and then connecting that and peeling this back. Okay, go ahead and give that a good burnish. Next up, you're gonna need your 2 pieces of chipboard. Like I said, this is 7 1/4 by 7 1/2. And if you guys wanna download the cutting guide, there is a cutting guide available on my Ko-fi page. Just please consider making a donation while you're there, just because these take time to make for you guys and I make them for you guys for free. So if you can, please consider making a donation. So I'm gonna have these 2 7 1/4 by 7 1/2 pieces, and I want the 7 1/2 piece side to be the long side. So yeah, this is the right way. And I'm just making sure, like this one's 7 1/4, so this one is the wrong way. So I gotta flip it. Make sure it's 7 1/2 long. And then you're also gonna need 1 piece that measures 2 inches by 7 1/4. Now I'm gonna start off with this piece first because I want this on that piece where these 2 meet. And I wanna make sure I get it fairly in the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this back since I already added my double-sided tape, and I'll have all the double-sided tape that I use linked down below. I'm just gonna put this here just to use as like a guide, and I'm gonna put this down. And yes, I didn't line it up all the way just because I like a little bit of extra space, and I will cut some more off later, which is completely fine with me, but that's just kind of how I do things. All right, then I'm gonna take this piece. So I will have this book binding tool linked down below, but anyway, you have this piece to kind of help you line things up, whether it's this or this and so on. And then you have this piece which acts as this little like spacer in between. Now you can use 1/2 inch size tape in between, which is what I used to do before I even had this bookbinding kind of tool set, but it has been a game changer and I just love it. I use it all the time. So I'm going to take this piece, line it up against all of these pieces here. Okay, so I have that, and now I need the other one. And again, just make sure it's 7.5 like long for the width and 7.25 in height when you put this down. Okay, and then I'm gonna line this piece. All right, so we have our bottom part here done. Now I'm just gonna grab some scissors and I'm gonna cut off the extra. Now this isn't gonna be perfect. I still might need to cut off some more later. So this is just kind of like a rough guide right now. And then I gotta clear up my desk and throw out some of these tape pieces and some of this extra cardstock. Okay, next up, I'm grabbing my tape. This is a little bit less than 1/2 inch tape, and I am going to put this down on all 4 sides, and I'm going to do 2 layers on all the sides. I never do more than 2, just because then I just cut off the rest of the cardstock. I don't feel like I need more than 2 layers. So here's my 2 like rows. The rest I'm gonna kind of cut off. I don't need that. All right, so once you have all of your tape down, just give it a good burnish. Okay, and then you're gonna grab a cutting mat. So I'm gonna grab my cutting mat here, and I have a corner miter tool. So I'm gonna use, actually, no, before I do that, you could do this either way, but I'm actually gonna cut off the extra cardstock first. But I'm going to be using a corner miter tool. If you don't have one of those, I will tell you what you need to do, but I prefer to use it, and I never make a mistake with my bases. So that's just kind of my preferred method. There's plenty of people that don't use a corner miter tool, but if you have one, take it out and we're gonna use it, because seriously, once I got the corner miter tool, it has been a game changer. Now I'm gonna be using a metal one, but the bookbinding tool set that I did link down below for you guys that I was just using before, it does come with a corner miter tool. So you do not need to go out and buy a metal one. If you're looking to get that bookbinding tool set already, like I said, it comes with one. However, I have a metal one that I had first, and I just kind of prefer using it because just in case, I don't want to, the other ones are plastic, so that's why I use this one. So I'm using my corner miter tool. I'm also using a rotary cutter. You could use scissors. This goes nice and easy. But if you do not have a corner miter tool, and I said nice and easy, and then I didn't even cut it properly. But if you do not have a corner miter tool, just make sure you're cutting this paper at an angle and you're leaving about a 1/8 inch gap between the chipboard and the cardstock. Okay, you want that little space there so that when you fold your paper over, it covers all of the chipboard. Okay, so now we have something that looks like this, and all of our corners are cut at an angle. So now I'm going to go ahead and start taking this tape off. So I'm going to take off one kind of section at a time, and I always start from like the top of the album. So go ahead and start folding that in, and I'm just kind of pressing down against my desk, moving it back and forth before I feel like it's ready to go down all the way. Then I'm going to flip it, make sure to burnish that. And also, you're going to tuck in your corners. So I'm just pressing down on the very edge of the chipboard, like right outside where that cardstock is, and pressing, like pushing it in. Then go ahead and do the other side. Same idea here. Start working it in, bending back and forth to kind of get that paper to bend the way you want it to, and then go in with your bone folder, and again push in those corners on each side. Okay, now moving on to this side. And again, work it in, flipping it back and forth. This is hard for you guys to see because it's so big and it's touching my phone already at the top. But there's this one, and then we have one more here. Okay, so once we have that, I'm just going to go in with my bone folder here so that I can fold this, and this is going to fold easily for now until you add in your next piece. But this is what your base looks like. Here's where those where the two pieces met, my cardstock. So now we're going to move on to our hinge. So our hinge measures 7 inches by 8 inches, and I'm gonna score at 2 inches, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and all the way until 6 inches every ½ inch. So from 2 to 6, I'm scoring at every ½ an inch. Okay, so that's all I did here. I'm gonna start folding this. So these outside pieces where I have like a 2-inch gap, fold those towards you. Same thing with this one on the other side. The next one, so those first 2 smaller lines, fold away from you. Same thing here, fold away from you. Then you're gonna fold in the next 2 in towards you. Well, I guess maybe not towards you, but just up. Unless I flip the paper, but I hope that makes sense. Basically, it's a mountain valley fold, so it's gonna start looking something like this. Okay, and then this next piece I want to do out again. That's my center. And I'll show you guys what this looks like in a second. So let me kind of arrange it the way that it's going to be. Oh, I did that one the wrong way. And that's okay. All right, so it's gonna look something like this, okay, after you do all your folds. So on the back here, let me just flatten it out again. This is the back, okay, so not where I have these pieces kind of going up, the other side of that. I'm gonna put down my less than 1/2 inch tape on that first section where I have the 2 smaller lines. Then I'm gonna skip one and do the next section again. So I guess you're kind of in a way skipping 2. So start with the bottom one, the smallest, the first smallest kind of thinnest line, skip 2, do it again, skip 2, and one more time. All right, so we got that done there. Now the other side, I'm gonna use a 1/4 inch tape. So this time I'm going to be adding this tape on these pieces that do go up like that, and I'm going to make sure when this is down like this, they're as close to each other as possible without going over the score line. Okay, so here's my first one. My score line is right at the top. And my tape, you can see, doesn't cover that whole entire thing, and you don't want it to cover that whole entire thing either. So that's my first one, and then the other one on the other side is going to be kind of close to that other one without going over that score line. Then you're going to skip one and then do the same thing. Okay, skip one and then one more time. And all those pieces where they kind of meet, that's our hinge for our page. Okay, so I have that. That's what that looks like. I'm gonna flip this back over, and now I'm gonna start sticking these together. So I'm taking off my first piece of tape and folding that in. Gonna burnish it, make sure that's stuck down, and we got our first kind of piece. Gonna do the next one. And then the last one. Okay, so you have something now that looks like this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting off the edges here at an angle, but I'm starting where that piece of tape is. Instead of going all the way to the bottom, I'm gonna start my angle kind of like where I cut that tape, or where I put that tape, not cut that tape, I guess. So I'm not going all the way down. See, I'm kind of starting here, if you could see where my scissors are. Cut at an angle and to both sides. All right, now the last thing I'm gonna do to this back side, add some more tape. All right, so I'm gonna grab some larger size tape now. This is like a 2-inch tape. I'm gonna put this down on my 2-inch edges here. And this is coming up right up to that score line without going over it. Okay, Okay, so I have that. You guys could see, you could still fold these and the tape does not interfere. And then I'm using my slightly less than 1/2 inch tape and I'm just gonna put it on these pieces. And again, I'm just not going over the score lines. I'm gonna grab my cutting mat one more time, and this time I'm using it as a guide. So I'm gonna go ahead and line this up here, like in the center as best as possible. Okay, I'm just kind of lining it up along the lines, and then I'm gonna start taking this tape off, just because I want to make sure to try and get this on as evenly as possible. Now, some people do make little marks and stuff. I don't know how that works. That seems like a lot of measuring and figuring out I would need to do. But I usually eyeball and I don't normally have any issues. I'm gonna add glue even in between those where those pieces meet on those score lines, but with glue, not with double-sided tape. And just reinforcing it some more with glue, and this also kind of gives you some wiggle room if you do put it down incorrectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this down, try to arrange it in the middle as best as possible.
Don't forget to take out the trash cans.
Okay. I think that looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my bone folder, get this stuck down. And you also want to make sure to get in between all of these hinges while also getting those to fold down. And you want to work those in so that they fold and flip over to either side fairly easily. So you want to go over those a few times, making sure they kind of just move like that fairly easily. Okay, now you're going to use your bone folder again, go over where those other lines are supposed to, like where this is supposed to fold. So I start off at the bottom because you could see a little bit of it, and then start working those in by lifting up the page and gently go back and forth with your bone folder until it's all the way. And same thing on the other side. All right, so we just made the base of our album, and I did get this on nice and straight and even. All right, so that is the base. Now let's go ahead. I'm gonna clean up a little bit and we're gonna get started on page 1. Actually, you guys, before we even do the pages, we need the signatures. So you're gonna need 3 pieces of cardstock that measure 7 inches by 7 inches. And you're gonna need 1 piece that measures 7 inches by 8 inches. On the 8-inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch on both sides. So I already did my score marks, and I'm just gonna go ahead and fold those in. Now you're gonna need 3 of each of these. I already put the other 2 together to save time, so I'm gonna show you guys just how to put together this one. So you have the 2 flaps here. You're gonna put glue down on one of them. Okay, and you're going to line up this paper at the top And you also kind of want to make sure it's straight with the bottom one. Okay, once you have that aligned properly, go ahead and burnish that. And then I also like to open it up and burnish again. Okay, so that's stuck down, and now I'm going to do the other flap. And if you have a little bit of overhang, you could just go ahead and cut off that rest. But this is your pocket page. That's what it looks like. I do have a little bit of overhang here, so I'm just going to go in with my scissors and just cut off the extra. Okay, just a couple of slivers. So there we go. That's our pocket page. Now when you start putting your paper on, make sure this pocket page is turned. You want the openings on the right and left hand sides, not the top and bottom. So I do have 2 more already done for me here that I already made, but let's start with one of these. So now this is going to be for page 1. So I have everything cut out. If you want to do this ahead of time as well, following the cutting guide, go ahead and do that. This is just what I did just right now. I cut them all following my own cutting guide because it's just helpful after you type it up. Okay, so again, make sure your openings are on the right and left hand sides. So for page 1, just gonna start putting my sticky notes in the corners here. This is page 1. Okay, you're gonna need a piece that measures 8 inches by 3.5 inches. On the 3.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And then on the 8 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch on both sides. So I'm going to move that page aside. This is a pocket. You are going to cut this, you know, just miter these corners. Okay, and I try to do like a little V kind of thing. Just to make sure that nothing touches when I go to fold all these pieces, which is what I'm doing now. And we're going to double check anyway. If I need to cut off more, I will. So I just don't want these kind of overlapping, and they do not. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuck down here at the bottom. Okay. So I'm just adding glue down on that one bottom flap. I'm gonna flip that over and make sure this gets stuck down on the bottom of this page. Okay, I'm gonna unfold that and I'm gonna put some tape down. This piece of tape is optional. I always do it because then it helps everything else that you put into the pockets slide in better, especially if you're not adding a full patterned paper down here, which I normally don't. So we're gonna add this piece of tape just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and glue down the sides. Now, if you want to add in a little notch into the pocket, you could do that. Normally I don't glue it down then yet if I'm gonna do that, but for this whole album, I didn't do that at all. And you guys are gonna kind of like see why. But I'm gonna have things kind of tucking in, holding other things kind of in place. So I didn't do any notches on this album. So we have that bottom pocket. Now you're going to need a piece that measures 7 inches by 3 3/8. And on the 3 3/8 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And again, this is all in the cutting guide if you guys want to follow along. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to glue down on the flap. And this I'm going to glue down to the top of my pocket. So it's going to go right on top of my pocket here. So just make sure to line that up. Okay, and go ahead and burnish that. So not only do I have a pocket here, but this also flips up for additional either journaling space or photos. Okay, and then up here, now you're gonna need 2 pieces that measure 4 1/8 by 3 7/8. And on the 4 1/8 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch, and you're gonna score at 1/2 inch on both pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and burnish these. Okay, and I'm gonna put glue down on here. And I'm gonna glue to the top left, and then the other one I'm gonna glue to the top right on opposite sides. And if you guys don't know already, I use Barely Art Glue for all of my projects. If you guys want to get your hands on some of this glue, I will have it linked down below. And I do also have a 10% off coupon code for you guys listed in the description box. It's just my name, Karolina, with a K, but it gets you 10% off. And there's a link in the description, so you guys could get some too, but it's literally all I use. I started using it before they even gave me a coupon code. All right, so that's what I have now. And then I'm gonna need 2 more pieces that measure 3 5/8 by 3 7/8. And then on the 3 5/8 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. So similar to what we did on the other side, or on the other pieces, these ones are just a little bit smaller. Now you could do this and you could put these down in a couple of different ways. You could do just 2 of these pieces and put them right on top of each other. You could even take this smaller piece and put it on top so that you have some of that paper peeking underneath. However, I'm adding mine on the inside and like away from that other score line, kind of like you would do a waterfall. So right next to this other little tab piece that we glued down, without going over it, I'm gonna stick down this next piece. And you just wanna make sure that's lined up and as straight as possible. Okay, and you could see they're different sizes here. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the other one. Okay, same idea here. Don't go over that little tab piece, just right next to it. Glue down this next piece. Okay, so now you have something that looks like this. Why do I have a little bubble there? I don't know. But anyway, this flips closed like that, and then this flips closed again. This will stay closed once I have stuff in the pockets. But that completes page 1. So I'm going to flip this over, and now we're going to be doing page 2. So for page 2, you are going to need, let's see, what do we need? Okay, you're gonna need one piece that measures 3 1/8 by 8 inches tall, and then on the 8-inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch on each side. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold on those score lines, and this is gonna be a belly band. You're also gonna need 2 pieces that measure 3 1/8 tall by 4 5/8 inches wide, and you're gonna score on the 4 5/8 inch side at 1/2 inch. And you're gonna need 2 of these. Okay, so I'm gonna take this belly band and I'm gonna glue this a little smaller flap that we also cut to one to the top and one to the bottom of my belly band. So just line it up at the top. Make sure it's straight. And then go ahead and burnish that. Okay, so that flips open on that belly band, and you still have this other piece that will get attached to our album. Okay, make sure that's stuck down really well. And then you're gonna do the same thing to the other side. I just kind of flipped mine over so I could glue it down to the top again. And again, make sure it gets lined up. And I'm even double checking here to make sure the lines are straight before I go ahead and burnish that. Okay, so you have something that looks like that. And this is gonna get stuck down right here in the center. So here I will measure a little bit. I just want an idea. Wait, I need a pencil too. So I just want an idea, making sure I have the same amount of space on both sides. So I think it's about like 1 3/4 ish. I can move this over a little bit. So this is like 1 7/8. And this one's like 2 inches. I think that's fine. So actually I don't even need a pencil. I'm holding that down and I'm gonna lift one side up, glue this down on that flap, get that stuck down. Okay, and then I'm gonna glue on this other flap and get this stuck down. So you will add your pattern paper underneath this. I did like one full piece and I just like slid it through underneath here. But if you have like smaller pieces, you could do like 2 smaller pieces as long as it still goes underneath there, and then just glue them that way. So now you have this belly band here and you have these flaps. I will add magnets to this. That's what I did on my last one, to make that like a little closure, but you could also do a ribbon closure if you'd like, or you could do like a swing tab closure. So whatever you prefer. Actually on this side also, I would add magnets here and here, like 2 smaller magnets here. 2 sets of smaller magnets. All right, so that completes page or signature number 1. So that's page 1 and 2. Moving on to now page 3, I'm gonna grab another pocket page, making sure my openings are to the left and to the right. And here we have page 3. So for page 3, you're gonna need a piece that measures, before that, let's do this page first. You're gonna need 2 pieces that measure 5 5/8 by 7 inches. On this 5 5/8 inch side, you're going to score 1/2 inch and 5/8. So it's going to give you this little gusset here. That's what you are looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and fold. It's a little difficult to fold when those lines are close together, but just try your best and take it slow. So you could fold on those lines. Okay, so you're gonna have this little like gusset there, and do the same thing with the other one. All right, so I have my gusseted pages. I'm gonna add one piece to the top, one piece to the bottom. Again, make sure your openings are on the left and the right. The last thing you want for your pocket pages is like you do it the other way and now everything is put together wrong, because you won't be able to stick that down into your album then. All right, so nope, see, I did this wrong. I want top and bottom, not left and right. Whoopsies. I'm actually gonna flip this because I know I'm gonna have a pocket thing here. So top and bottom for this, it's because I was talking. I got distracted. All right, so make sure that gets glued down, and you're only gluing down on that 1/2 inch. You're still gonna see that little like gusset there, if you guys could see that. Okay, then I'm gonna take that other piece and I'm gonna glue this to the top. Again, just make sure that gets lined up. Okay. All right, so we have something that looks like this. I am going to do a magnetic closure up here, and then it's going to go somewhere down here. Now I'm going to do one more piece in here, and this one's going to measure 7.5 inches by 7.5, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Okay, so you see all my sides are scored. I'm now going to take a paper cutter, and I'm just going to use my whiskers. So I'm going to line up on a diagonal from corner to corner. Okay, so you guys could kind of see here. Let's see, corner, that's the best I could do. Corner to corner. You're just gonna line it up and then cut it. So I'm gonna make sure my line is on those. And then go ahead and cut that at a diagonal. So you now have these two kind of like pocket pages off of one of these. So I'm just gonna take one more. I'm now gonna line this up, same diagonal, but at 1 inch. So I'm gonna cut off 1 inch of this. Okay, so now I cut that piece off. So now I have these two pockets, one smaller, one larger. I'm gonna erase some of this because when I go to paper mat, I don't want that to show. Okay, go ahead and miter these corners because they are pockets. And fold that in. Now when you fold this in, it's gonna look a little funky because now we have to also cut off these pieces. Okay, so there's one, and then here's the next one. Now I would suggest not gluing this down yet. That way you can kind of trace your pocket onto your patterned paper, and then cut it. So I am not gonna glue these down just yet. I mean, there's like, you know, I could figure it out with a math way, but sometimes it's just easier to just leave it the way it is, and then glue it down later. So this is gonna go inside here. This one is gonna go right on top, just a little smaller pocket, and that is perfect. So I'm gonna leave those in there, and that completed page 3. Flipping this over, now we're on page 4. So for page 4, okay, what do we need for page 4? Page 4, we need a large piece that measures 5.5 by 8 inches. This is gonna be a large pocket. On the 5.5 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. On the 8-inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch on both sides. And again, miter these corners. It's a pocket. Okay, so I have that cut off. I'm gonna go ahead and burnish this along all of those score lines. Okay, I'm gonna glue this down. No, I am not, because I think, no, I am gonna glue this one down. Okay, so I'm gonna glue this down on the bottom, or I guess technically it's the side, but on the one where it just has the one piece scored. And I'm gonna glue this on the left-hand side. So just lining it up on my page here. Okay, make sure that gets burnished, and again, I'm adding in a piece of tape on that piece. Again, this is optional, but I do find it helps when you're adding in booklets and things, so it slides all the way down. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm gonna glue down the sides. Okay, folding that in, and I'm just gonna burnish those. My other pieces are coming out of that other pocket page. Okay. I'm just kind of folding everything in on the other side, just so I'm not like squishing it, but it's already, you know, folded on those score lines. All right, so we got that piece. Now I need one piece that measures 3¼ by 8 inches. On the 3¼ inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. On the 8-inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch on both sides. And again, this is another pocket, so go ahead and miter those corners. Okay, now this piece, I'm gonna glue down on this like long piece, that one tab again. Okay, and I'm gonna glue this down to where this end of this pocket meets on like the left. Okay, so go ahead and stick that down. And then again, adding in another piece of tape. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and glue the tabs. Okay, so you have this smaller pocket here and this super large pocket there. So now you're gonna take two pieces that measure 5.5 inches by 7 inches. On the 5.5 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch, and you're gonna do that to both pieces. These are just some more flaps. So I'm gonna go ahead and burnish along that score line. And you're gonna glue one to the left, one to the right. So I'm just gonna put some glue down here. So I'm gonna stick it down on one on the left. Just lining it up with my pocket page. And then I'm gonna glue the other one down on the right. Okay, and glue that down. And there you go, that completes page 4, and that also completes our second signature. So I'm gonna put that aside. All right, so grabbing our third pocket page, again, make sure the opening is to the left and to the right. And then grab all of your page 5 cut pieces. So for page 5, I think is this an easy page? Yeah. So page 5, you're gonna need this pocket that measures 8 1/4 by 3 5/8. On the 8 1/4 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch and 5/8 on both sides. So 1/2 inch, 5/8, flip it, 1/2 inch, 5/8. Then also on the 3 5/8 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch and 5/8 again, because this is gonna give us a gusset. Now, when you cut at an angle here, you're gonna cut from that, like the more inner score line. So cut that at an angle. Yes, no, 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 no. Yes, no, no. The outer one. So I'm gonna cut into the center there. Yeah, cut along the outer one, not the inner one. Same thing here. Outer score line. Okay. So notice how I didn't cut along the inner one. However, you do need to kind of cut out that little corner piece. I don't remember having this issue with the last one I did, so I don't know what I did differently here. But if you have another little piece there, little corner, cut that out so that when you go ahead and glue this, now they kind of like meet. All right, so on here, I'm gonna glue this down on that one kind of flat piece first. And of course, we are gonna use some tape. And when you have like a gusset like this, even though it's like such a little gusset, you could fit so much stuff in that pocket. It's crazy what a little gusset like that, how much room it kind of gives you. All right, so I glued that down. Gonna put some tape down. Okay, and I'm gonna glue on these other flaps also. Okay, so go ahead and glue those in. Make sure you try to get these as straight as possible with your gusset. Okay, I kind of do that first, and then I'll go in with like my bone folder, and then I'll kind of like press down once I know that's straight. And the same thing on the other side. That one's not as straight. Okay, and that's pretty good. So now I have this gusseted pocket here. Now with that, you're also gonna need a piece that measures 8.5 by 7 inches, and then on the 8.5 inch side, you're gonna score at 4.25. So this will just kind of get folded in half. And then you're gonna need one more piece that measures 4.5 inches by 7, and then on the 4.5 inch side, you're gonna score it 1/2 inch on both sides. Did I do that right? No, I did not. That doesn't look like a right measurement. No, this is the wrong measurement. I gotta change that on the cutting guide. So it's supposed to be, this is about, yeah. So it should be like 3.5 inches wide. So this should have been cut at 7 by 7. And on one of the 7 inch sides, you're scoring at 3.5. All right, I just wanted to get that updated on the cutting guide before I forgot. So just so you guys also have it here, this is 7 by 7, score on one of the 7 inch sides at 3.5. Okay, so we have those two pieces. I'm gonna take this one that has the 2 score lines, fold along both of these. So one I'm gonna fold this way, and one I'm gonna fold the other way. Okay, so it looks like this. Now I'm gonna take this piece, I'm gonna flip it to the back. Wait. Okay. No. Yeah, this way. So I'm gonna take this piece. I'm gonna glue it down on one of these flaps. And on the back of this, I wanna put this flap on the end here, not on like the folded line. And go ahead and burnish that. So you kind of just have like your combined piece now. And then this other flap is going to get glued down to here, to the pocket page base. Okay, so So not on the same side of the pocket, just on the opposite side. You're gonna glue that down. Just like that. So now you kind of have like this Z fold, and you're gonna put in a bunch of like cut aparts and things in here. That's gonna kind of keep that closed. And then page 6, we're gonna flip this over. Okay, page 6 has a lot of pieces, kind of. So page 6, you're gonna need a piece that measures 7 1/4 by 6 1/8. On the 7 1/4 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. I'm gonna go ahead and fold this. This is actually gonna go this way, so when we glue it down. I'm gonna glue it down in a little bit. So then you're gonna need a piece that measures, oh, I forgot a piece, hold on. Okay, so here's the piece I forgot. You're gonna need a piece that measures 3 1/2 by 7 1/8, and then on the 7 1/8 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch on both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and burnish on those score lines. And this is another belly band. This is gonna get attached to this flap that we cut first. So I'm gonna glue one side first. And I'm just kind of eyeballing the center. You could double check like with your ruler, make sure it's like similar amount of spaces. I can move this over a little bit. Okay, we have like 1 5/8 and 1 5/8 inches. All right, so we got that now, and I'm gonna glue the other side down too. All right, just like that. So we got another belly band here. It's a gusseted belly band, so you could fit quite a bunch in there. All right, then you're gonna need a piece that measures 4 1/2 by 2 3/4. On the 4 1/2 inch side, you're gonna score on two sides at 1/2 inch. On the 2 3/4 inch side, you're just gonna score once at 1/2 inch. This is a little pocket, so go ahead and miter those corners. Okay, I'm just gonna fold those. I keep zooming in and out, and I don't know. All right, so this piece, glue down on the bottom. And you're gonna glue it down to the bottom of this belly band. So just line that up on the bottom there. And I'm just gonna use a little piece of tape. And then I'm gonna glue the sides. Okay, then you're gonna need another piece that measures 2 1/2 inches by 4 1/2. Again, you're gonna score on both sides, on the 4 1/2 inch side and on one side on the 2 1/2 inch side. This is another pocket, so go ahead and miter these corners. However, you do not want to fold this bottom line. Do not fold that one. You're just gonna fold the sides. Okay, so this is gonna go inside here so that this pocket goes all the way down, and that was just kind of like your little guide so you know where to put it in, and then where to glue, or like where to put your pattern paper later. So go ahead and slide that piece in and then glue this down. Okay, so now I could glue this to my my pocket page. So I'm gonna take that whole piece, glue along this tab here. And I'm gonna glue that on the right hand side. Nope, it's supposed to go in the middle. What am I doing? Not at the top, it's going like in the middle, so I'm eyeballing it. Okay, so this will flip open to the left. All right, then I'm also gonna need 2 pieces that measure 5 inches by 3.5, and then on the 5-inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. So go ahead and burnish both of those. Now, before you do anything, you wanna do a dry fit with these. So these are supposed to go top and bottom here, but you may have to cut down one a little shorter. Mine seem to be fitting well, but I don't want anything to touch just in case. So I'm gonna cut, oh, I just hit you guys, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna cut each one down a sliver. Okay, then, I mean, this should fit nicely, right? Okay, then you're gonna need 2 pieces that measure 4.5 by 4.5, and you're gonna score on 3 sides at 1/2 inch. Go ahead and miter these. It's like little pockets. Okay, then you're gonna fold along all those lines. Okay, so these may not fit now. They might be a little bit bigger. Mine's like the teeniest smidge bigger, if you guys could see, but it really isn't that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue that down, and this is just getting glued down on those little flaps that we just did the dry fit with. So starting off with the bottom piece, glue this bottom piece down to that same piece that has this other flap, just not on the flap side. Okay, now I'm gonna glue these flaps down. Okay, so this one should be able to go right there. Okay, I'm gonna glue this down, so along this flap, and then we'll put the other one together too. And I'm gonna glue this all the way down on the left-hand side of that pocket page. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Why is that sticking up? And then you're going to do the same thing with your other one. Okay, so I'm just gluing this down now. And get those stuck down. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece and we're going to glue this down as well. Okay, so try to line this up above that other one because you don't want it hitting or anything. You want these to open kind of freely. And just like double check also when you go ahead and open these. Yep, see, nothing is hitting here. They're not hitting here, so they're both opening up on their own, which is what we want. Okay, so that is that, and then this is gonna get a magnet here. I think I forgot to put down all the other magnet pieces. The magnet, somewhere magnet here and magnet here, wherever those kind of line up. And that completes our page 6. So we have all of the signatures done. Did I forget to write magnet here? Yes, I did. This one, that one we wrote down. Wait, that's this other side, so that goes this way. And then this way. So we have all of our pages done here. The only other thing is the inside front and back covers. So I'm gonna quickly do those with you guys. But I think you guys know how to put this in. I'm gonna decorate all my pages kind of out of the album, but all you would do is take your page, find where that pocket page kind of is, so here, and then you would slide this onto that hinge. I'm trying to like show you guys before I do the other part. All right, so slide that on, and you can see it's not gonna go all the way down because of the way that we cut it, and then you would peel that like tape back and just glue it down. And it's not gonna go all the way down. See where that score line is from the hinge? You don't want it to go all the way down, okay? But that's all you would do to stick those in. But let's do the front and back covers. So the inside back cover, hold on, love me and my sticky notes. So the inside back cover, you're gonna need a piece that measures 6.5 by 4.5, and then you're gonna need 5 pieces that measure 4.5 by 4, and on the 4.5 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. You are going to burnish all of these. This is just a waterfall. Okay, you could turn this into a pocket if you want. This one I'm gonna glue on 3 sides, so I'm gonna make it a pocket, just not a gusseted pocket. But if you wanted to make it a gusseted pocket, you can. So on these pieces that we just scored, you're gonna put glue on these. This is your waterfall. You're gonna put them all on. What did I do wrong here? Was this supposed to be by 4 inches? Whoops. This is supposed to be 4 inches, not 4.5. I gotta change that on the cutting guide. All right, so glue this down. It's a good thing I'm going through my own cutting guide. All right, so we have that. Then go ahead and glue down this next piece. And don't worry guys, the cutting guide is all gonna be updated for you. Like, I wrote things down as I was kind of like making the album. I tried to do some of the measurements in my head first, like on the train, and then I kind of put it together, but I guess I forgot to update stuff as I was doing it, because even though I might think of it on the train and like I think I have the measurements right, some of them always end up wrong. But I think I just forgot to change that. Okay, so your waterfall just keeps getting added, you know, next to the other one, without going over like these tabs. So when you guys download the cutting guide, you guys are going to see there's supposed to be other videos coming. I do not have the other ones filmed yet, so those will be coming at some point, like the paper matting video. I just didn't get a chance to do it yet, because right now I'm making this album with you guys, and it's literally the day before it needs to get posted, and it's already 10 o'clock at night, and I have work tomorrow. So yeah, we're a little behind. Anyway, you are now going to, just make sure that however you cut this, you want these to be even. I'm seeing that bottom piece is a little bit longer. So I'm gonna line up that last waterfall at 1/2 inch, and I'm just gonna cut off the extra so they all have kind of a 1/2 inch space. But that's what mine looks like, and this is gonna go on the inside back cover. You could do it this way or this way. I think the other one I did this way. The next one I think I might want to do this other way, but you know, we'll see. So I'm just gonna kind of paper clip this here so I know that that's where that goes. And then we still have the front cover left. So the front cover, the inside front cover, you're gonna need a piece or 2 pieces that measure 6.5 by 4.5. All right, on one of these, so I'll just take this one. You are gonna cut this at 1/2 inch all the way around. So I'm lining up my piece with 1/2 inch on this right hand side. Okay, but you don't want to go all the way up or down. You want to kind of leave a 1/2 inch. Okay, then take your other piece, line it up on the 1/2 inch. Okay, and see here I have to cut off a little bit more. So I'll just kind of go in with my scissors here, because you're kind of, what you're doing is cutting out a square. Okay, gonna line this up on 1/2 inch again. And again, one more time at 1/2 inch. All right, so what we have is like this frame here, and then you would just decorate this however you want. You could cut off strips and do 4 separate pieces. You could use your scraps. On the back here, I'm just gonna add some tape. I have like the scrap piece of acetate that I messed up on at one point. So I'm going to cut this down to like 4 3/8 by 6 3/8. And you want to glue this down where you just put down your tape. So I guess in a way you're taping it down. Okay, so take this acetate piece. All right, so now we have that. All right, so that's my little acetate piece, and again, you would go in with your pattern paper later. Then you're also going to need a piece that measures, well, you still have your other piece that measures 6.5 by 4.5. This is going to get attached to this on some foam on 3 sides. You know what, let me do the foam. I'm not going to stick this down yet though, because I need to add my patterned paper first. But I'm going to add my foam tape. This is semi-thin, but it just helps put in the other paper afterwards. Like, not even just your pattern paper, which is not what I mean, but like your photo. It helps put in your photo, where you have a little bit of that kind of space. So you could see it's not super thick foam tape. All right, so I have that. This would get stuck down on here on that foam, but again, I want my pattern paper down there first. But anyway, with this other piece, actually, does that get stuck down on there? No, it's gonna get stuck down onto this piece, not that piece. What am I saying? Anyway, this piece, it measures 6.5 inches by 5 inches. You're gonna score on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch. So go ahead and fold that. And this is gonna get glued down to here. So that should line up like perfectly with your other piece that you had. And then you're going to need one piece that measures 4 3/4 by 6.5. And then on the 4 3/4 inch side, you're going to score a 1/2 inch. So before we just glued down on the top, now we're going to glue this one down on the bottom. Okay, just like that. And then you would decorate this with paper, but this is shorter so that this other piece could close, no problem. And then this piece would go on top here. So that is your inside front cover. So now we have all of our base pages done. Again, the cutting guide will be up to date, so you guys have everything written exactly as it should be. And you guys could go ahead and download that from my Ko-fi page, and please consider making a donation. I know other people like charge for these cutting guides when they have even free tutorials, but they charge for cutting guides. I don't, but I would appreciate a donation if you guys can. And that is everything for this video. So again, make sure you stay tuned. I will have a paper matting video at some point. It's just going to take me a little bit of time. This project took me so long to make, and I was not expecting it to take this long, but it did. And so I didn't get a chance to do the paper matting yet. I had to finish the other one first, and oh gosh, it just took forever. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will update the cutting guide when I do have the paper matting video. Once I post it, I will let everybody know that the cutting guide is updated and so on. Once I post the paper matting. And yeah, but in the meantime, you'll be able to watch the project share and this base tutorial. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys get started on this, and so you can follow along when I do the paper matting. And I will see you guys in my next crafty video. Also, make sure to check out Tiffany's video next. And that is everything. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next crafty video. Talk to you soon. Bye.